this house right here. The lady I spoke with, her son was actually best friends with a boy who lived in this house. And his friend took him up to that top. At the top there was a fake bookcase. You opened the bookcase, behind which there was a spiral staircase that took you down to the basement. In the basement was, you could tell that there had been a tunnel. It was filled in, but there had a tunnel. And it was connected to, we're assuming, right down the street, Castle Tucker. From Wiscasset, you might end up going up the coast. And this is where it gets a little personal. Now, I imagine, my dad was born in Robbinston, my family's Passamaquoddy, part of my family's Passamaquoddy. And the Passamaquoddy Indians helped the slaves, and they helped us escape all the way over across the river to Canada. This is one of the cabins. It was a safe house. And now the brewer, D&B, was also a safe house, and that is there. Donald Sockama, he's a tribal historian for the Passamaquoddy. You might remember he was a state legislator for a while, Donald Sockama. He wrote this. He said, there was a Passamaquoddy settlement in Robbinston, and escaped slaves would show up there, and they were helped. And the main place I heard was St. Andrews, New Brunswick. But there may have been other places. But we have relatives in the Tobique region, and that's where they were taken. One story, just read this today from all my notes. One story tells of a couple who escaped across a river. Now, it was either the St. Croix or the St. John. They escaped across the river floating over in molasses barrels.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? Fun? Woo! Talk about your river rides there. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, now. And the Passamaquoddy sometimes would help the people go up the river, Penobscot River, to Bangor. Now this is actually in Brewer, the John Holyoke house. I used to live about 2 miles from here. And as a fact, the Holyokes had a summer kitchen back here. Behind the kitchen was a little pantry. And if you're on the river, this is the Penobscot River. If you have the northern bridge looking up to the right of the hill, that was at the top of that hill. It was about a 40-foot cliff. They had a tunnel that went down that 40 feet to the Penobscot River. And here's a picture of, this place is now a park, and that house no longer exists. Freedom Park. But they took pictures of the tunnel. It was a 40-foot tunnel, went down to the John Holyoke's Pier. What was it called? Freedom Pier. And there, they would be connected to, and I had to show you this, because you know when you write a book, you have your characters pictured in your mind, what they look like. We'd never been to this park before. And went up to Brewer, and went to the park, and I said to my wife, I said, that's Tice. That is spitting image of the guy that I've been writing about for 2 years. Oh, so I had to put this picture on that cover there. Okay, so picture this. You want to get to Canada going up the river. How do you do that? It's a lot of fun. I'm going to say it's a lot of fun. They would embark at Freedom Pier, and the Penobscot Indians, the Micmac Indians, and one of the other tribes, Maliseet Indians, would canoe them up the Penobscot River. They get here at Lincoln. On the east branch of the Mattawamkeag, they would go up. They would canoe. Now this is a long ride by car. They would canoe from Bangor all the way up to Fort Fairfield. Wow. A little bit of commitment, right? I think that's commitment with capital C. Until they got to Fort Fairfield. Now, in Fort Fairfield, there were 2 places that we know of. The Maple Grove Friends Church, right there, and where they just started holding annual meetings for the Underground Railroad celebration. And a place in town called Herbert's Tavern. It's about a kilometer away from the U.S. border. So they would come to one of those places, or both of them, and they were hidden in a secret room behind Tavern. And then they were taken, shuttled across the Sam Everett Road to Tomlinson Lake logging road that ran parallel to Tomlinson Lake Brook. And the family called the, guess what? Tomlinsons would take them and connect them with a growing number of slave communities over there in Canada. And that is my story. I could go on, because I got lots of slides to show. So they would get to Canada coming up through Maine in all those different ways. And all those people put their fortunes in jeopardy to do this. Helping people they'd never met in their lives, would never meet again. They didn't get any thanks for it. They just maybe followed this Holy Spirit of God, leading them in the direction they should go. I wonder if we would do that today if we were faced with the same kind of situation, but that they certainly faced it and overcame it back then. That's my talk. Please, thank you. And $20 bill. Anybody know who this is?
Harriet Tubman.
Hey, she's more famous than our president. Harriet Tubman, back in 2016, they said we're going to have a new $20 bill. And we'll have it done by 2020. Can you guess what the new date is? 2026.
Oh, wow.
Think far ahead, Benny. Any questions or comments? Yes.
Where was that place in, the one in Auburn? Was it Lewiston?
You were gonna give a book if you could identify it.
Oh, the one in Lewiston. Okay, can anybody tell me where that is?
Is it out Lisbon Road?
Who?
Lisbon Road? No.
Yeah. That's a long road. It's down by downtown Lewiston. You gotta be more specific.
You're going out of town,
Uh-huh.
and it's on the left-hand side,
Uh-huh.
and maybe it used to be a car repair place?
Oh. You win a book! Right at the Lewiston and Lisbon line, right there. And, wow, yeah. Excellent. That to go. Super duper. You lose money at each one of these talks. Yeah, Dave, did you have a question? No? Anybody else? A bunch of historians are going to have a comment or a question.
Will you come
Yeah.
back? Do it again?
Mark, what happened to the slaves once they reached Canada? Are there remnants of the villages and the communities that they formed 160 years ago?
160 years. Well, you know what? There were some of the slaves that came back to Maine. There was a story of a family called the Browns, who came back to Vassalboro, the Vassalboro area, and they had a pretty big family, a big plot of land there. They're not there anymore. But the places over in Canada, you know, those communities, I imagine, still exist to some degree, yeah.
So Mark, you talked about Portland, when they got into the city, you mentioned a barber shop. Do you know anything about a barber shop on Congress Street that has a tunnel